Good morning. Type that in there. We made it through another week. It's good. All right. So yesterday we were looking for basically a go nowhere day. Congestion between tightening support and resistance. And it's what we got. There's spiders yesterday. It was the gap up. They hit that little resistance area right there and went nowhere. I mean, it just got stuck there. And toward the end of the day, as we discussed in the green room, there was when things don't go up, sometimes they go down a bit, sometimes they go down a lot because traders get impatient. So there's your 5 minute chart. And it was interesting. Every day is interesting in some way. Some days are just really boring. Other days are exciting. There's price movement, and other days just make you wonder what the hell's going on. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let me put up the charts there. All right. That's green. Okay. Got it. Thank you. So here's the spiders, and it was an inside day, not an inside day, just within the range. So it's like building a range within a range right now. And so we were looking for the gap fill yesterday, the spiders to come down here, and we'd be buyers down here looking for a move up, maybe, test the high of the day, maybe even above. And traders stepped up there. And again, we discussed in the room, was this or the cues. Why are they buying there? So while our approach is to look for a reference point of support, a gap fill, a prior low, whatever is real, right? Price. And then you get into subjective things like Fibonacci retracements, trader pivot lines, VWAP, all of those wonderful things that are put on charts to mysteriously figure out why buyers are going to do something. Well, gap fills, gap fill, the pivot, here's the pivot line there. Gap fill an area of price support, something subjective, like a create a pivot line, they're close to each other. I make the analogy, it's basically like ringing the bell for Pavlov's dog. You just know there's going to be buyers there. It's a given. And then at that point, you've got your own, based on what I'm saying here, a little plan as to what to do. Either bid down there and just buy it, wait for some slowing in momentum and a turn, and then buy it, and then manage it accordingly. And as you see, it just stopped in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing there. And I even meant, like I mentioned in the room, I asked, I think it was, yeah, it must have been Alex at the time, because I think he watches that stuff. I was like, is there a VWAP there? Anything there? It was like nothing. And we saw that similarly, the cues just stopped in the middle of nowhere for whatever reason. I mean, it is um time turning point, right? Meaning usually around 10 o'clock, things have a tendency to turn, and then 10:30, and then the latter part of the day. So that is just a guide. So what everything is like, can I line up something like a reversal time with a gap fill, with a pivot line, with a bottoming tail bar or a breakdown failure? Those things coming together formulate high probability intraday trades. None of that happened, other than the reversal time, which you can see on the bottom of my chart there is around 10 o'clock, you know, around 10:10, right in there, give or take. So a little bit of a mystery. And then it just went up there and we had just a go nowhere day where prices obviously couldn't get any further. The blue line up there is the opening price. This here is yesterday's close, the red line, dotted line. And then went sideways, sideways, sideways. And then as we came into the latter part of the day, whether it's 2:30 or 3 o'clock, at some point traders say, you know what, this thing ain't going up. I held on all day like a good trader, didn't violate my support. It's going to go higher. And then they just say, you know what, screw it. Let me just take whatever money I got, get out the hell out of the way. And I just pulled back a little bit, go nowhere day. Right? Just chop back and forth. And so far, we're starting out in a similar way. Let's go back to the spiders. Right? So, same story, stopped in the middle of nowhere, chopped back and forth, pulled back, didn't go very far. At that point, it was reasonable to think, hey, let it go down and fill the gap. It didn't do that. It stopped in the area where it did at around 10:30, 10:10 in the morning. So everybody probably waiting for the next shoe to drop. What's going to come out of the president's mouth? Who's going to say something else? Something, the craziness that we saw on this day and then back up again. And now I just associate it to traders are just catching their breath and saying, you know what, this is insane, which it is. It is. But we saw this last year. Now, well, here's SPX. I don't think anything changed much since I started talking, but I'll take a double take on that. So 68. Actually, it came up 5 ticks, strikes as it stabilized. I tightened up a little bit, 69.05. 69.50. That stayed the same. Okay. So there you have it. And where are things right now? Well, right about here, not moving very much. You can see over there, just up and down a little bit. So, and that would suggest we're in for the same. Well, maybe hopefully we get a little bit more range movement. And you can see the 5-day ATR has been expanding with these larger moves, but it contracted a little bit after yesterday. All right, just take another peek here. Go to the morning. So gapping down a little bit, no big deal. Well, let me just put a few more days on here. One thing with your charts, your intraday charts, loading up too many days that are relatively irrelevant just taxes the computer. So it's up at resistance. It's gapping down a little bit. Let's see, yesterday's low is the first reference point of support. We'll see if that holds. If it begins to dip, can it hold minor support? We'll see. Okay. Now, that's kind of like the neutral, not so good, not moving. The Russell, well, that's today. That pushed up and made a new all-time high. And now it's just flip-flopping around here. It's kind of inching a little bit lower. Not a big deal. This is overnight trading, the blue line. And, well, I put less credence in overnight trading because of the lower volume. So we look at IWM. And you see it got a little bit of a rejection up there yesterday. It's extended, but still in an uptrend. Far from the 20, far from the 50. Little rejection there. There's an unfilled gap down there. So keep an eye on that. If you trade these, know where the unfilled gaps are. As it comes into there, there'd be some support. And diamonds. Same story, just a go nowhere day yesterday. So while a bit disappointing, it was what was anticipated. And that's exactly what happened. And so today things are gapping down a little bit onto some support there. Let's see. Not really much of anything there to stop it because that big wide bar is a momentum bar. And we gotta go over here. It's into yesterday's gap fill. So odds are going to get some stabilization and wiggles there, of course, at the open. Silver going to touch 100. Actually, there was, I think, mentioned in the journal. Yeah, silver's approaching 100. So that's coming up to a whole number. So that'll be of interest to see how it deals with that. Uh, Tends to be a target, tends to be an area where psychologically it'll stall there, and we'll see. So there is a support area down below where that congested there, and pretty strong support. It's assumed because of the size of the base. If it does start to pull back, that's an uptrend. We'll see what it does. Gold, closing in on 5,000. It's still pretty far away. But so far, just slowing momentum day, small candle body. It's extended, of course, likely to pull back one of these days. Bitcoin, it's just a big mess. The breakout failed news. And it's a lot of talk about this. Depends on, I guess, whose perspective it is. A lot of talk about um, Japan and their bonds and interest rates and how that could affect Bitcoin. I saw one last night on Twitter or X suggesting that it's going to go a lot lower. And you know what? We trade charts. A lot of people have opinions. It's on some support. So far, it's holding. And there was one there, uh, you flip through this stuff there that they put in front of you, but some trader proposing that it's going to go to like 200,000 to 300,000 by sometime in February. I don't know how they come up with that stuff, but always interesting to see how people have different opinions about things. One is going to crash, another one is going to double in no time. But what we do know is just running in place. Yeah. Crude oil continuing to improve. Venezuela break above pivots, regardless of what the news. We look at the charts, and that is building a little support area after that run up. Kind of whippy, of course, but it's building a support area, and you can see the weekly time frame is starting to improve as well. We'll see what that does. We looked at silver, we looked at gold, we looked at Bitcoin, and bonds. What are bonds doing? Pulling in a little bit. And they broke out. You know, that suggests they're going higher. And with interest rates breaking out, looking at some stocks that get negatively affected. Interest rates coming in a little bit, but Lennar pulled back. We're going to be watching how much these pull back, or could we get a red bar ignored possibly because of this momentum move, his blast off on the other Trump news about institutions not being able to buy individual homes. And there was this blast off in home building stocks, and Home Depot, that already was basing out, but strong. So this sector is definitely improving, and that's encouraging. And well, we got this bad thing here. This is broken down. It's all about semiconductors, which are doing great. Certain ones, the ones that are AI related, like AVGO, looks terrible. I'm sure Dan's going to talk about Intel, which is gapping down. Uh, is SMH gapping down a little bit. So I think we're in for more of the same today. Chopping around. Is there going to be any news? Trying to figure out, the charts. There's a lot of pluses and there's minuses. You look at the equally weighted. So there's good stuff out there. New all-time highs yesterday. It's moving down a little bit. The Qs equally weighted have not broken out yet. But we'll see if that happens in the coming week. And other than that, just stick to the plan. And here's another good chart. Regional banks doing well. Um, so we could look at lots of different stuff of others that are not doing so well. Nonetheless, their things so far are holding intact. And over the weekend in our letters, we'll be reviewing other market internal gauges as to where they're at. And the sentiment gauges are inching their way up toward a bearish level. And so we'll be reviewing things like the percentage of stocks above their 50, that's 40, the 100, the 200, and different measurements as to assess when we're getting to a point where it's risk off, which we're not there yet. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Happy Zero DTE day. Alarms first. NOV. We're in this oil. And I was watching HAL also. It's not a 1, 2, 3, but it's a breakout inside bar. Ideally, we get one more inside bar. Greg mentioned Avgo. We got a call spread on this. So, big bear rectangle. You can see it easier on the weekly. So breakout failure, flagpole, rectangle, kind of a well, it's not a head and shoulder because there's no right shoulder, but it's a bear rectangle. So the low alarm went off. I adjusted the stop. Call spread doing well. Black, we scanned a bunch of mineral stocks yesterday. This is lithium. We bought call options on it, and it's gapping up. Looks great, all time frames. So I'm in this one for a bigger gain. Look at that beautiful boot. I gotta take a screenshot of that. That is a textbook. And Greg, we gotta stop saying textbooks. I don't have textbooks anymore. Is it a Kindle? What do you learn on? This is a textbook Kindle W bottom new low plus. Avoid. The multiple time frames look fantastic on this. Walmart alarm. We got a low alarm going off. We actually bought that gap. That's relative weakness. SMCI, we did a put spread yesterday, gapping up, so I tightened the stop. I think down here, 3208. SLI. Another lithium, my up alarm went off. This one, it's a pullback from a rounding top, so and it's a, I don't, the lack was superior to this. Daily, weekly, monthly. WWR was another one here. It's a buy setup, but it again, it retraced from 3 sideways bars. So I got an alarm up here at 116. Today's Friday. If I can get over Wednesday's red bar, that would be your entry. Let me check my alarm. There's a lot of Climos also, particularly in software. Yeah, I got an alarm at 1.155. NMG, another one in the sector. So Lou gave us a big old list yesterday, and there's like four or five I'm watching. So my up alarm went off on this. Kind of top of the range, but again, lack was superior. But if the sector is going to move, it's marinating right here. Let me reset the alarm 315. And that looks like all the alarms. So let's go to earnings. Intel, yeah, bear gap. Yeah, remember somebody in the room was talking about selling a put spread on this. I'm like, no, it's not our style. And that's up a lot from the 20. So that's a bear gap down if there's any premium. I mean, it's gapping out so much. It might even be a condor. Let's see what it does at the open. CSX 3682, bullish gap. Wow, bullish gap to the yesterday's high, but resistance. Here, this is not earnings, but this is a trucker in the transport. Look at KNX, looks great. It's not a 1, 2, 3 because yesterday was not an inside bar, but it's still bullish. Looks like all time frames. Oh, SanDisk, I posted in Telegram. This thing is up so much. This kind of looks like a wide range ending. And if you were to look at Steve Nissan's book, Candles Encyclopedia of Candlesticks, this whatever you call these things, hammer, but it's slowing momentum. So that's 30-minute low. I like that as a 0 DTE call spread. Alcoa 6040. That's a call spread idea. Cough earnings, and they're buying a company for 5 billion. That's bearish. That's a call spread, 0 DTE. Alaska Airline, big mess. Thomas SOC. I like the 15 a lot. It's a grinder. It's grinded its way back to 100% retracement with a closing breakout. I don't like it as a swing. It's approaching the breakdown area, but 5-minute high. Day trade I like. Stop under this, under 1215. Cold, sloppy. ISRG is a put spread idea, but this $500 stock, I know it's spready, but it's a sloppy climo and gapping up. So it is a watch. I'll put it in a 5-minute window. I think that's good. All right. ASB, it's around too much. There's a regional bank and a ton of bullish regional banks. Here's another one, but they need to pull in and retrace and consolidate. Look how similar these. Wow, I just went through 3 of them that almost look identical. 4. Crazy. I mean, this would have been a fantastic 1, 2, 3, but for yesterday's tail, but I'll leave this one. Nothing there. They ran too much, and that one, the weekly and monthly, are more extended. Extended cash. Never heard of this symbol, but I like the symbol. Who doesn't like cash other than the government? A nice closing breakout on Wednesday. There's no trade now. Fantastic consolidation breakout right there. Look, that was your breakout, 2-bar pullback, broke out again, but nothing to do now. SMS, Caddy. I'll keep it on the list. I like the weekly, monthly. So if that can chop around for 2 days, I like it. Extended, that's too much. Extended. Slob extended, far from the 20, WBS. Man. All right, a lot of silver. A friend of mine, my Bitcoin friend guy, asked me yesterday, hey, what's your take on SLV? He says, I want to short the S out of it. And I sent him just a screenshot of daily, weekly. I'm like, it's extended, but there's zero reason to short it right now. I said, I'll tell you when I think it's, setting up. And as we talked about, BTGO yesterday IPO. BitGo Holdings. The word bit suggests Bitcoin. Just guessing, but I like watching IPOs. All right, SNMG we talked about. Amazon 30-minute high, 0DTE put spread, LVS. It's another new low reversal after a Climo, so that's a put spread watch. Spot gapping up on an upgrade. That's a 0DTE put spread. There's a lot of Climos still. Look at GoDaddy. I have an alarm. Intuit looks great. Maybe 30-minute high. I forget. Are there any aren't any news things at 10 we got to be concerned with? Oh, lack up alarm again. Hit my 650 alarm. Wow, that's a pretty good gap. Look at the size of that gap. Now, if it's just a swing trade to you, I would sell a third in the strength. Or, you know what, Alex? I'm going to check out calls. Alex, do you know what a calendar spread is? Seriously? It's when we have a longer dated call and then you sell a shorter dated call against it. So it's like a covered call, but with uneven. So look, the 650s that even expire today are 15 cents. 13. So I'm going to try to sell them at 13. I've selected a non-standard expiration. What the heck does that mean? It's giving me a big warning for some reason. All right, so I'm just trying to sell the calls at 14 cents. Yeah, Oki was a nice trade yesterday. We talked about it. SMCI. I personally would like maybe 10, 15, 30-minute high, but it is a directional watch. All right, I did not get filled on, so I'm going to try to do I'm going to go out 7 days and sell a call. All right, got filled at 29 cents. So it's a hedge for me now. Partial hedge, of course. All right, Intel middle chart. Oh, that's ugly. I don't think you're going to get any juice though. Look. I do 50 or above. 7 cents is all, so nothing. Um, this back, I should have told subscribers to do the same. So I'll make it pretty later, but Alex, this is what I was talking to you about. That's legging into a bull diagonal spread, calendar spread. But I'll make it pretty later. Burger King. Looks like a day trade short, 5 minute low. What do you mean cancel? What, I guess you were gonna buy it over Wednesday's high? 5 minute low looks like a day trade short. Let me check calls also. 121, there's no weeklies. All right, cream is rocking. We got a put spread on this. 226.48. And I said you did 30 for half. Let's say 217. Yeah, look at spreading. That was, yeah, I mentioned to you there was a lot of Climos. That was one of them we did yesterday. But spread looks great. We also did a directional on something with a B. SanDisk, I mentioned you all call spread. That's falling hard.
GoDaddy is another one of those Climos. It's facing here.
Yeah, I got my
Catch
alarm.
up today.
I got my alarm from yesterday. So yeah, you got NOW and Tua. There's a bunch of them. A lot of those software stocks hit yearly lows. All right, so look at SanDisk. I like 30-minute low. Let me check the 5/10s. That spreads 150 by 240. Yeah, and Intuit's on the list. Yeah, yeah, that still has room, I think, to 580. NOV, oh, nice. Let's sell. Let's sell. I gave a bigger target on NOV, but let's sell a third now. Market's still weak here and there's air below on the 15. So I'm not eager for any longs. Well, I did post one long, K-View. But the alarm didn't go off, but. Oh, it did go off. It went off 2 minutes ago, so K-View triggered. All right, that looks fantastic. So that's a go. Maybe. The only long that I posted today. Yeah, I was active 12 Thomas. I actually like it better for Monday if it closes like this. Then it's a continuation, red bar ignored. So just set an alarm at, I'll set one at 33:30. So, I wouldn't cancel it, just have a different entry strategy. Amazon alarm, that one popped there, but nah, I don't want to do a put spread yet. Apple tanking again. That looks horrible. Microsoft and Netflix are both stable, but I want to see more of